Hello, we are from Group 2. We'll be uh, doing a presentation about appreciation of art MDH 130 Chapter 2. This module will help students to know and understand the background of art and design, thus will enable them to practice design to the top level. Now, let's go to Topic 2 Introduction to Prehistoric Communication. There are two prehistoric periods which we will be learning today. That is Paleolithic period and Neolithic period. Now, let's look to the introduction of Chapter 2. The history of communication technologies, media, and appropriate inscription tools have evolved in tandem with shifts in political and economic systems and by extension, systems of power. Communication can range from very subtle processes of exchange to full conversation and mass communication. The history of communication itself can be traced back since the origin of speech circa 500,000 before Common Era. The use of technology in communication may be considered since the first use of symbols about 30,000 years before Common Era. Among the symbols used, there are cave paintings, petroglyphs, pictograms, and ideograms. Writing was a major innovation, as well as printing technology and, more recently, telecommunications and the internet. In this introduction, we can see that human technologies have evolved in tandem with shifts in political and economic systems as well as systems of power. We can see that communication can range from very subtle processes, which means it can range from an exchange of information to full conversation and mass communications. And from history, we can see that early symbols that were used are cave paintings, petroglyphs, pictograms, and ideograms. Writing was also a major innovation. And from writing, this leads to printing technology and telecommunication as well as the internet. Now, let's go to the Paleolithic period. Prehistoric to early civilization, primitive time. Human communication was revolutionized with the origin of speech approximately 500,000 before Common Era. Symbols were developed about 30,000 years ago. The oldest known symbols created for the purpose of communication were cave painting, a form of rock art dating to the Upper Paleolithic age. And we can see that in prehistoric to early civilization, we can see that speech was the first communication that were used 500,000 before Common Era, and symbols then were used about 30,000 years ago. We can see that cave painting was one of the oldest known symbols that were used in Upper Paleolithic age. Now let's go to petroglyph, and some examples we can see in petroglyph is a petroglyph from Haliesta, Sweden, which approximately at Nordic Bronze Age. It is possible that Homo sapiens of that time used some other forms of communication, often for mnemonic purposes, such as arranged stones, symbols carved in wood or earth, People like robes, tattoos, but little other than the most durable scarp stones that have survived to modern times, and we can only speculate about their existence based on our observation of still existing hunter-gatherers such as those of Africa or Oceania. Basically, we can see that other forms of communication that were used by Homo sapiens of that time uh, are arranged stones, symbols carved in wood or earth, kuipu-like robes, tattoos, as well as carved stones, which has survived to modern times. It is often for mnemonic purposes, or we can say it's a way for us to remember. Next, let's see about pictograms. There are two examples of pictograms, which is pictograph from 1510 telling a story of a coming of missionaries to Hispaniola, and pictograph from Egyptian hieroglyphs. A pictogram or a pictograph is a symbol representing a concept, object, activity, place, or event by illustration. Pictograph is a form of photo writing whereby ideas are transmitted through drawing. Pictographs were the next step in the evolution of communication. The most important difference between petroglyph and pictograms is that petroglyphs are simply showing an event, but pictograms are telling a story about the event. Thus, they can, for example, be ordered chronologically. Basically, a pictogram is a photo writing, whereby ideas like concept, object, activity, place, or event are transmitted through illustration. But there are difference between petroglyph and pictogram. That is, petroglyphs are simply showing an event. For example, we can see an event where Homo sapiens were hunting for food. It is only showing an illustration about Homo sapiens hunting for food. But pictograms are telling a story about the event. For example, the illustration shows about how the Homo sapiens were hunting for food, where they first started, and how they got the food. Thus, they can, for example, be ordered chronologically. There are three types of pictograms. The first one is cuneiform, then hieroglyph, and the last one is logographics. Next, let's go to ideograms. Ideograms is a character symbolizing the idea of a thing without indicating the sounds used to say it. Example includes numerals and Chinese characters. One of the examples of ideograms is the beginning of the Lord's Prayer in Mi'kmaq hieroglyphic writing. The text reads, Nujinen Wasok, Our Father in Heaven. Now, let's talk about writing. The first form of writing is early scripts. One of the examples we can see in early scripts is that in 26th century in before Christ, Sumerian cuneiform script in Sumerian language listing gifts to the high priestess of Adab on the occasion of her election. One of the earliest examples of human writing. Then, the writing itself was innovated through alphabet. For example, a specimen of typeset fonts and language made by William Caslen, later founder from the 1728 Cyclopedia. From early scripts through alphabet, we can see that writing itself found its way on storytelling. We can see one of the examples of storytelling is from a Creative Commons, which is Janice Day, a Hopi Bear Strap Clan storyteller. She is someone who's storytelling about her own clan and about historic. So we have reached the end of the topic with me. Next, I will give it to my friend to explain the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan hi everyone. So today I want to explain about moral art. Alright. Before I explain about moral art, my name is Abdul Qadir bin Amrasa, and I want to say here, when you not understand, when you not hear what I say, I am very sorry. I am very sorry. Yeah, because my English is very bad. So to my lecturer, to my friend, and to my team, I am so sorry. So I try how to speaking, how to say the good English. Alright. Moral art. What is moral art? Before I explain about what moral art, I want to say here, moral art. Moral painting or art has been decoded and preserved from the prehistoric time today. Alright? It is associated with modern men who first appeared in Africa around 2000 BC and began migrating northwards in Europe and Asia sometime after 100,000 BC. So, from the cave painting, let's go further in Southern Africa. Francis, Bimbit cave painting in India, to the street at a moral of today. Many people have been leaving signs of the on extension in many places around the walls. Next the page. What is moral art? What? So go to meaning moral art. Definition moral art. The word moral derived from the Latin word morus, which means wall. It can be defined as any piece of artwork painted or applied directly onto a wall, scaling or other large permanent surface, flat, concave, or convex to be precise. Next, a distinguishing characteristic of moral painting is that the architectural element of the given space are harmoniously incorporated into the picture. The last, what is moral art? Moral are important in that they bring art into the public sphere. Often the visual effects are an instrument to attract public attention to social issue. So, what I say here, what definition is moral art here? Moral, from the Latin word morus, which means wall. So, what function moral here? It can be defined as any piece of artwork, painting, or applied directly onto a wall. Alright? You understand? So, next page. So here, characteristics of moral painting. What is characteristics of moral painting? So, it depicts the activity of a particular civilization people. encapsulating a moment in time, and range from the skin of hunting, gathering, and family life to religious and funerary scheme. 2. It is a combination of wide variety of artist style, release me with a dramatic sense of scale and amazing depth. 3. Artwork depict the expression of emotion, trope, and posture. 4. It played an important role in reflecting change in the political culture through the division of subject. 4. It often served the role of creating public awareness of certain issue. And in this case, we perform the function of socio-political, critical, as well as reinforcing political and community identity. It acts as a mediator between the public, the government, and the artist. The relationship is complex and very politically at times, especially when, as is so often the case in Iran, art is politics and politics is as the zit. So the last character of moral painting is it is three-dimensional form of artwork. So what I want to explain here about characteristics of moral painting. Moral painting is the depict activity of a particular civilization. What the function? Moral painting to your life, to your artist, to your family, to political, to government. It can important role in reflecting change in the political culture through the definition of subject. Alright? And it can be safely perform the function of socio-political. The last is can keseimbangan kepada pemerintahan kerajaan and sesetengah ahli politik seperti contoh di Iran. And this give dimensional form of artwork. So sudah habis saya punya penerangan tentang of moral art. So I hope you all, to my friend, to my lecturer, to my team, you can understand what I say. Alright?
Hello, my name is Husni Fadli. Today I am going to present about miniature art. The word miniature derived from the Latin verb minia. To color with minium or red lead indicates a small illustration used to decorate an ancient or medieval illuminated manuscript. The simple illustration of the early codices having been miniated or delineated with that pigment. A miniature bird figurine discovered at Lingjin, Henan Province, China, date to 30,500 years ago, is now the oldest known example of Chinese art. Photo courtesy of Francisco de Erico and Luc Doyon. Miniature from the Michel sister chains, Wolfgang Michel in the Austria 1493, and Armenia miniature. That's all for the presentation of the miniature art section, and I hope all friends can understand it. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Sujita Michael. So I will explain about the Neolithic period. So the Neolithic period has been exist in around 10,000 years BC. BC means before Christ. So I don't think I should explain this part because this part has been explained before. Stone Age. So there are two Stone Ages, a Paleolithic period and Neolithic period. So Paleolithic period we categorize as Old Stone Age, while Neolithic period we categorize as New Stone Age. So in Paleolithic period, they focus on hunting, where they draw or engrave on capsules. They hunt animals as food sources. So about this Paleolithic period has been explained before, so I don't think I should explain about it. And we go to Neolithic period. So in Neolithic period, those people focus on farming. The discovery of agriculture further improved their standards of living, and in this period, those people began living in permanent settlements, where maybe before this they live in other place to another place. They move, they wasn't stay. So in this period, they began to living in permanent settlements. Then they used pottery to store extra food. Actually, they will still have other developments during this period. For example, they began to keep animals and they conducted trade in butter. That's renowned as butter system. So this is how they traded during that period. Neolithic art in Middle East. So there are pictograms, hieroglyphic, and pottery. So pictograms is a symbol. It is a graphic symbol that conveys its meaning through its pictorial resemblance to a physical object. In the field of prehistoric art, where it means the art painted on rock surfaces. Today, we can find it everywhere. We can find it at road, the warning sign, at our calendar, at our phone, even at our computer. Hieroglyphic. Hieroglyphic writing system in Sumer which heralds the arrival of pictorial methods of communication. So hieroglyphic, we can define it as a writing system that written as an object, but not like our object that we use today, because it is a symbol that may represent the object that they depict, but usually stand for a particular sound or group of sound. And the last one is pottery. So those people create pottery from clay. I have told before that they use pottery to store extra food.
For the last topic in this chapter is pottery. Ceramic material recovered from the cave include items of New Stone era, together with example of Velarka culture. Pottery is clothed with ringless and grid-like motif. Large quality of heavily engaged wood, highly polished back shade of the craved culture, plus toe shade of the right shade. Neolithic art in China. Chinese art during the Neolithic era, the final stage in the prehistory art. Period 7,500 become Common Era to 2,000 become Common Era.
Oke, makan durian dalam alkum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.